We look into many things when planning a trip, the flights, the stay, etc. Even the nitty-gritty bits like what's available at the airport. But we have never looked into the significance of the airport. With this list of the most dangerous airports in Asia. Tenzing Hillary Airport. The airport is surrounded on all sides by steep mountainous terrain. The short runway is perched on little more than a mountain shelf. At one end there's a wall and at the other a steep drop into the valley below. At these altitudes, air density is considerably lower than at sea level, and that has a detrimental impact on the amount of power generated by the aircraft engines, reducing lift. Reduced air resistance also makes it more challenging to slow the plane down. At high altitudes, the longer the runway, the better. Unfortunately for pilots landing at Lukla, the airport runway is extremely short at just 1,729 feet long. Runways at many of the world's international airports are more than 10,000 feet long. So short is Lukla's runway that it slopes uphill with a gradient of almost 12% to assist planes in slowing down in time. To make matters worse, there is so little opportunity for a missed approach because of the surrounding mountains that there are no go-around procedures. Once an aircraft starts its approach, it must touch down. Given these factors, only helicopters and small fixed-wing propeller planes are permitted to land. Sudden mist, fog, rainstorms or snow are always possible. Despite the short distance and short flight time, the weather in Lukla can often be completely different from Kathmandu and frequently changes while the airplane is on its way. The most notable crash occurred in 2008 when Yeti Airlines Flight 103 crashed into the mountain a few feet below the start of the runway. The pilot lost visual contact in heavy fog during final approach but attempted a visual landing nevertheless. All 16 passengers and 2 of the 3 crew were killed. The pilot was the only survivor. Bhutan? Paro Airport. Bhutan's Paro International Airport is frequently featured on lists over the world's most dangerous airports. Less than 24 pilots are certified to make the manual by daylight-only approach between 18,000 feet peaks through a long, winding valley and onto a runway that is only 7,431 feet long and visible for only moments before landing. Manual approach by checkpoint landmarks. Very few pilots are certified to land at Bhutan's Paro International Airport, and not without reason. Firstly, there is no radar to guide planes into the airport. The pilot needs to fly entirely in manual mode, according to procedures for landing that have been designed by experienced pilots and aircraft manufacturers. These specify at which speed and altitude the aircraft needs to be at specific visual landmark checkpoints as the pilots make their approach. For these reasons, flights are only allowed during daylight and under good visibility, and they can often be diverted due to clouds. As if being able to check the visual landmarks in the runway wasn't enough. The pilot also needs to watch out for electrical poles and house roofs on the hillside as they maneuver between the mountains at a 45-degree angle before dropping quickly onto the runway. Unique and challenging factors. The mountains surrounding the airport can be up to 18,000 feet, while Paro itself sits at an elevation of 7,364 feet. This in itself affects and restricts the performance of aircraft. Pilots also say that the runway is only really visible for brief moments before landing. Most airports have at least 10 nautical miles of distance for pilots to gauge an aligned approach onto the landing strip. Paro's airport offers only 1 to 2. Ice runway Antarctica. While there are several airports that are considered challenging, almost all of them at least offer a paved tarmac strip to touch down, but McMurdo Station, located in Antarctica, offers pilots nothing more than a few inches of thin ice to put their aircraft down. The entire runway complex is constructed on glacial ice of the McMurdo Ice Shelf, which is approximately 20 kilometers from the McMurdo Station. This spectacular ice runway facility is built annually during the Antarctic summer between August and October, making it a seasonal runway. The station usually preps 2 permanent runways when conditions permit, a primary runway and a crosswind runway also of the same dimensions. A maximum of 1-inch depth of loose snow is permissible on the runway and 2 inches on the ramp and taxiway. The position and alignment of these runways are not fixed and depend on the prevailing sea ice conditions. The runway's weight-bearing capacity is determined specifically for each season after studying graphs that take into account ice thickness, ice temperature, aircraft type, and landing weight. Phoenix Airfield, aka the ice runway, is certified to handle up to 60 wheeled flights a year. The real challenge for pilots arises in winter when the nights last a full 24 hours and with not enough runway lighting. It's a break of sweat even for the most experienced pilots, as the landing is nearly done blind. However, the station's runways have a strong safety record. If the ice suddenly fails to keep its thickness, the aircraft is forced to land elsewhere. No other airfield in the world uses deep compacted snow to land heavy-wheeled airplanes. Tioman Airport. Planes can only take off and land in one direction at Tioman Airport, located on Tioman Island in Malaysia. Because of the surrounding geography, landing is especially nerve-wracking, as pilots have to fly straight at a mountain before making a sudden 90-degree turn. To line up with the runway also lies above a very steep cliff, which means landing has to be super fast. The airplanes that can take off from here are all pretty small, so costs can be high per seat for airlines. As a result, there's just one operator at Tioman Airport that offers regular charter services. And the spot is popular for private pilots too. Kansai International Airport. Off the Honshu shore, the Kansai International Airport is an airport located on an artificial island in the middle of Osaka Bay. 38 kilometers from Osaka Station, Japan. Designed by an Italian architect named Renzo Piano, this airport is built on an artificial island. Since the land is scarce and overpriced in the country. Inaugurated on 4 September 1994, Kansai was the ideal solution to relieve overcrowding at Osaka International Airport. Closer to the city of Osaka, the Osaka International Airport now handles only domestic flights. The Kansai artificial island, 4 kilometers in length and 2.5 kilometers wide, exposes the airport to has many hazards, like earthquakes and cyclones. But those are not the only problems. It is said that in the next 4 to 5 decades, the sea levels are expected to rise due to global warming, which would cause the airport to submerge in the ocean water. Alright. That's it for this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos.